everyone, and welcome to Mr. and Mrs. Social Studies. As part of our back to school countdown, day 4, we have a cooking video to give you some really healthy, easy breakfast ideas for the upcoming school year. Now, as a teacher, my mornings I feel like are pretty hectic as I am trying to sleep in to the latest possible time and then kind of get out the door before I will be running late. Because of that, I feel like I've perfected the quick breakfast, and also all of these options are very healthy but don't sacrifice any delicious flavor, and with all these options can even help satisfy maybe cravings that you have or types of foods that you crave in the morning. So today we will be making a delicious mint matcha shake. This will be great if you need a little caffeine boost. We will also be making overnight oats, so easy to prep in advance. And for a savory dish, we're going to be making freezer breakfast burritos. All of these recipes can be made in advance, so what are we waiting for? Let's get started with recipe number 1. Alright, so we have our ingredients here for our mint matcha breakfast shake. Now let's talk about this a little bit. So are there any coffee drinkers out there? I personally have to admit that I've never really been a big coffee fan. I honestly don't think I've ever had like a full cup of coffee. I've just tried sips of it here and there, and I'm not a fan. But I know for a lot of people, coffee is an essential part of their morning. One really awesome thing about this shake is that there's not actually coffee in it, but there is still some caffeine. You'd get that from matcha. If you haven't heard of matcha before, it's a Japanese green tea, but rather than just like a tea bag that sits in the water and then you remove the tea bag, it's actually a fine powder, and all of the matcha tea leaves have been ground up, and this is incredibly nutritious as well as gives a more prolonged dose of caffeine, I guess. So from what I have experienced and others have said, it gives them not so much of a caffeine rush and then a crash, but more sustained energy over time. Not to mention, this is ridiculously healthy. This stuff is a powerhouse. Now, on its own, it's a little bitter, but that's why we're putting it in our shake to help give it some green color, but also to really get all of these benefits. And I'm saying a shake rather than a smoothie because it is more sweet and maybe creamy than maybe your standard smoothie would be. So when you are making a smoothie, you want to start off with the easiest to blend ingredients first. We're going to be using 1 cup of almond milk in this. You can use whatever milk you prefer. It won't really affect the flavor too much, but I would recommend using a non-dairy milk just because it's easier on your body to process. We're also going to be adding spinach. Now, this will just make the green color more vibrant. You can leave it out, but you won't even taste it, I promise. I've got about 1 cup here. If you do have a weaker blender, you could blend these ingredients together a bit at first to help break up the spinach leaves, but this should be okay. I'm going to add a spoonful of our matcha. I should also say that this is culinary grade matcha rather than ceremonial grade. The culinary grade is a lot cheaper. I don't have an exact measurement for this, but maybe half a tablespoon. We're going to be adding some mint extract. Now, this stuff is powerful, so err on the side of too little so you don't taste like toothpaste, but I guess you would have fresh breath. I'm going to be doing a 1/4 teaspoon. And for energy, sweetness, and creaminess, we're going to be adding banana. I would recommend you freeze your bananas first, unless you're making this ahead of time and plan to have it chilled in the freezer before use. But I do not personally have any frozen yet. I was not planning ahead. So we are just going to add in this fresh banana, but it will make it blend easier. And the riper it is, the more brown spots you see, the sweeter it will be. So I encourage you, this is a great recipe to make too if you've got some bananas about to go bad. There are a few things you can add in if you want this to be extra filling. I often will add in some oats. So again, however much you want. That will give it some extra nutrition and keep me more filled up. You can add a protein powder if you'd like. You can add some nut butter, like peanut butter, and those will all be extra ways to add some calories and nutrition, so this does keep you full. But for today, I'm just going to keep it relatively light, and we are ready to blend. So here we go, it's all blended. Beautiful bright green color here. Now, mine's a little bit more runny than yours will be, assuming you're using a frozen banana, and you may want to play around with the different measurements. When you try it, maybe it's not sweet enough for you at first. I know I am more used to the matcha and try to reduce the sugar and things, so if it's not shake-like enough, you're welcome to add a little bit of your favorite liquid sweetener or even extra bananas. And you can see here, beautiful vibrant green color. I'm just using a glass jar here and I'll put the lid on it. This can easily go obviously in the fridge, but I would even recommend if you make a larger batch, I just made enough for one today, you put them all in jars in the freezer and then just take it out of the freezer into the fridge the night before you need it so it can thaw a bit overnight but still be pretty frosty, and you can enjoy this healthy minty matcha green shake whenever you desire. Cheers. It would be better if the banana was frozen, but besides that, this is definitely one of my favorites. All right, for recipe number 2, let's make some overnight oats. Now these are awesome because easy prep the night before, and just as the name suggests, they sit in the fridge overnight, they're ready to go in the morning. What's so great about that, especially since it's pretty hot out, still being summer, you don't have to like have warm oatmeal and cook it because maybe you don't feel in the mood for hot oatmeal, but you can have actually kind of refreshing chilled oatmeal, or of course put it in the microwave or something in the morning. So for these, some people use jars, but I like using these like Tupperware containers. They are glass, so if I want to microwave them, I don't feel nervous about that. And they fit it better than like in a jar, like trying to fish it out of the jar. So I will be using these regular containers today. I forgot the almond milk. All right, so for this one, obviously you're going to need oats. I like using the rolled oats for this, but quick oats work fine too. Steel cut's not gonna fully cook just in the fridge. So half cup roughly for each of our bowls here. So we have a half cup of oats. We're going to double the amount of liquid. Once again, I'm going to be using almond milk, but it is up to you, very flexible. To keep costs down on this, you could definitely use water as well. I think there's an extra creaminess when you use whatever milk of choice, but just so you know, it's obviously can be made with water. I guess same with the smoothie too, but I feel like you notice the difference more on that one. The flavor I'm going to be making today is chocolate raspberry, but you can make any flavor that you want. There's really endless options here. So for a nutrition boost, I'm going to be adding, this is just some seed blend that I have. It's basically ground up flax seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds, and I think some coconut. I would really highly recommend that you incorporate some sort of seed like flax seed or chia seeds, because that is going to give you a really great dose of omega-3s, and that's really great for brain health, which we need a lot of as we get back into the school year. And I think it can be a really easy way to get this in. It doesn't really add any taste, but it will also help to thicken up the oats a little bit. So I'm not measuring much here. I'm just going to sprinkle some in. Good hearty sprinkle. I think this might be about a tablespoon. Next, I'm going to add in some cocoa powder. This is going to give a little bit of that chocolatey flavor, but you could use actual chocolate chips, I suppose. I love the smell of cocoa powder. I am going to add a little bit of sweetness. You could add whatever kind of sweetness you want, and sometimes I do make a version where I just use chopped up dates as a sweetener, but today I'm just going to use some maple syrup. Again, I'm not really measuring much. As long as you have a 2-to-1 oats to liquid ratio, it should work out just fine. And at this point, I am going to go ahead and give it a stir just so it's well incorporated before I add my fruit. Now you may notice it does look a little liquidy, but that is because overnight the oats are going to absorb that extra moisture, so it's like the perfect amount of liquid in the morning. Now I'm going to add some frozen raspberries on top, and they'll actually thaw overnight as well. So right now they're frozen. I'm just going to add these in. Perfect. So now I'm going to put the lids on them, and these are good to go in the fridge. You could freeze them, I suppose, or if you're making a lot, like let's say you're making a whole week worth on Sunday when you're prepping for the week, I would recommend make 2 or 3 with liquid and then leave the ones towards the end of the week without liquid, and just add the liquid maybe the night before, just to keep them fresh. But there you go. We've got some overnight oats here. I look forward to enjoying these tomorrow. All right, so now let's move on to our third and final recipe today, a savory recipe. We're gonna make some breakfast burritos. Now these are awesome because you can make a bunch. We're gonna put everything that's gonna be in the burritos in one pan, so it makes it really easy for you and you don't have a lot of dishes. And then afterwards, you can either put your burritos in Tupperware containers or aluminum foil in the freezer, and again, just whenever you need one, you can microwave it and it'll be good to go. So For these, you can obviously, as I've said before, you can customize whatever you want inside the burritos, but the one I've put together here is something that is so delicious to me, and it's very fueling and gives you a lot of the nutrition that you need. If you ever have checked out like the frozen aisle where they have breakfast burritos, a lot of the leading brands are actually like full of garbage and it's not gonna leave you feeling great. This, I can attest, really does. We are going to be adding some beans in it. Now I'm using black beans, but again, you can mix it up. You can also use beans you've cooked from scratch. I'm just using a jumbo can today of black beans. I know there's a lot of jokes about beans, but honestly, beans I feel like are so underrepresented in the standard American diet and have incredible benefits, heart healthy benefits, and so really if you're not getting beans every day, like this is a great way to incorporate them. Also, I'm going to be adding some hash browns. We're going to pack them with so much flavor. I don't know if you can see it here, but I've got tons of spices. We're really gonna jazz up the flavor. I am going to be doing a tofu scramble. Now, if you're unsure about tofu or you just really like eggs, you could obviously make that switch and cook eggs instead in your burrito, but the tofu is gonna give us a really great protein source without the added cholesterol, and it's just a little easier on the body to digest. I'm also going to be adding some salsa. I'm kind of a baby when it comes to spice, so we've got a mild salsa here. And of course a tortilla. So I've just got some whole grain tortillas here. But again, whatever your choice is for tortillas, and that is all. So to get started, the hash browns do take the longest to cook. So while I prep the tofu scramble I'm gonna be making, I'm gonna start off by heating the hash browns up with a little bit of water in a non-stick pan. And remember, hash browns cook down quite a bit, so you can go overboard a bit to start. So I was not able to film a close-up shot. I wasn't very good at adding the spices while I was holding the camera, but I added some salt, garlic powder, onion powder, cumin, and smoked paprika, and really went kind of heavy on the spices because we want it to be a really flavorful base. We can keep seasoning as we go. Next up, we're gonna prep our tofu scramble. So you will take your block of tofu. I recommend using firm or extra firm, and there will be some water on it, so I'm gonna kind of just stab this here, and I'm gonna drain the water out in the sink. So I think a lot of people get scared with tofu because they don't know what to do with it. But what's great is that it really takes on many different flavors and textures depending on what you want. So we're going to go ahead and crumble it up. Now with some recipes, they recommend that you press it first to get out some of the extra moisture. I feel like it's fine to have a little extra moisture in the tofu scramble because it's going to cook out anyway. But for other recipes, like if you're using it in a stir fry, you'd probably want to do that. But today I'm just going to, that noise probably isn't very pleasant, but I'm just crumbling it up into smaller pieces. Right, so it's all crumbled up in smaller pieces, and then I drizzle a bit of soy sauce on here. You can also use tamari. Not too much, but a drizzle. This is going to give some really good savory flavor, as well as a bit of saltiness and a little bit of color to start out as well, even though we're going to be adding some more of that as we go. Go ahead and give it a stir till it's all incorporated, and then we will be ready to add it to our pan. However, since I've discovered I struggled to add the spices while I was filming, I'm just going to add them right here and then we'll transfer it to the pan. To give it a yellow color that seems reminiscent of like a scrambled egg, we're going to use some turmeric. It looks like I need to buy more, but turmeric is amazing. It's really great for inflammation, for stopping inflammation, which can help reduce pain and just make you feel more vibrant. Oh, I am nearly out of this. There we go. It's also an ingredient in curry powder, so if you've had curry before, chances are you have had turmeric. I'm not measuring this really, but just enough to turn it a nice yellow color. Also, whenever you have turmeric, you should also have some black pepper because they work synergistically, and the black pepper can help you absorb the turmeric. We already have a lot of good seasoning going on with the potatoes. I am going to add a few additional things. Nutritional yeast. This gives dishes a really cheesy flavor, even though it is non-dairy, and it's bolstered with a lot of great B vitamins and fiber, protein, all the good stuff in here as well. And again, it just kind of helps tie the flavor together, very savory. This is totally optional. This is actually Hawaiian black salt, and this has a more like sulfuric kind of flavor, so it almost makes it taste more egg-like. It's really hard to find though. I actually found this at TJ Maxx after going to several grocery stores. So up to you. If you find it, awesome. I do like it, but there's no pressure at all. Perfect. Now I'm going to add this to the pan. So I have rinsed my beans. I'm going to add these to our pan as well as some salsa. Hey Jake, can you help me open the jar?
Yeah.
I have wet hands, so that's my excuse. Thank you so much. Jake, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you so much. Aww. Thank you.
Yay.
All right, I'm gonna continue it and then we can eat in a little bit.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Mr. Social Studies, everyone. Actually, you're kind of tall for this frame. All right. Thank you. So now we're gonna add our salsa and our beans to our pan. All right, so we have a beautiful plate here. I don't know if you can see it very well, of our tofu scramble with the beans and salsa and potatoes, and it looks really good, it's tasted really good. Go ahead and test yours to make sure that the spices and seasoning is what you're looking for. Again, like I really recommend packing it with flavor. You can include the cumin, the smoked paprika. Those are fun ones that I'm not sure how often I utilize, but I'm going to be taking this mixture and putting it in with my tortillas. So I'm just using store-bought. Obviously you can make your own tortillas, but I don't have time for that. All right, well, I've got 3. I'm gonna be making at least 3, probably quite a bit, probably all 6. So you've got your tortilla, and you could microwave the tortilla if you want, just have it a little more warm and ready to go for the mixture, but it's up to you. And you can also decide how you want to contain these. So I'm gonna just show you both ways. I'm gonna put a couple in this Tupperware container, and then also I'm going to individually wrap some in some aluminum foil. Basically, you'll take your tortilla, hold it in your hand, and then you're going to scoop the mixture into the middle. Think about like trying to hit like a rectangle shape in the middle, because we want some extra room on the sides to be able to fold it up. So here's my mixture, and I'm going to fold the tops and bottoms in first and then wrap the rest around. I'm not by no means a burrito folding expert, but that looks average. So I'm going to place this directly into my Tupperware container. Looks like that's going to fit 2 of them. And I know I wasn't too precise on measurements on this one. We'll see how many this makes. I've got 6 tortillas here, so I think it will make 6 actually. But it depends, like if you're using jumbo tortillas, like you'll obviously be able to fit a lot more. All right, there's my second one. And so I used 1 larger can of beans, but you could easily use a regular can, about 1/3 of a jar of salsa, 1 pack of tofu, and about half a bag, an average size bag of the potatoes, like hash brown potatoes. So if that gives you any guidelines. In general, I'm pretty chill on like recipe measurements. I kind of just eyeball it, so I know that's frustrating for some. All right, so I've got 3 in here that I'm gonna put in the freezer, but let's also wrap up a couple just to show you. Well, not as nice as Chipotle, but so you've got a easy in foil here, and then you would just unroll it before you put it in the microwave, since foil should not go in the microwave. This one I think I'm gonna leave out for a snack. We'll try it. Here we go. I love the flavor, like it's just packed with flavor. The beans, tofu, potato combo is really nice texture, so yeah, this is definitely a favorite of mine. I would say it honestly could make 8 or 9 of these average, I think these are 8-inch tortillas. I think even you could make your burritos, but also then have some left, just eat either on your own with a fork, or you put it on toast or with avocado. There's a lot of options. So there you guys go, 3 easy breakfasts that you can make ahead for this next school year. Save time, they're healthy, it's a win-win. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite breakfast is for these early school mornings, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Feel free to hit the subscribe button right here if you would like to subscribe to the channel and not miss out on any of our videos during our back to school countdown. See you next time, guys. Bye.